Hello wine drinkers! You are probably thinking that Douro wines are never white. You are wrong.
Today we will show you white and even orange Douro wines. So please stay with us. If you believe that Douro is only about red or port wine, then you are totally wrong. Douro is more and more also about white. We'll tell you why, but first let's go and taste some amazing white wine from the Douro region.
And we are at Poças winery, one of the most Portuguese family-owned winery in the region, and we will taste some great wines.
Come on with us.
Okay, so André, what are you doing at Poças?
I'm a winemaker. I make ports and table wines.
Okay, and we are actually in the port cellar.
Yes.
We can call it cellar.
Yeah.
But we will not talk about port, even if we are in Douro. We will not even talk about red wines, even if we are in Douro. We will talk about
special wines.
about whites.
Yeah.
Since how many years actually you are making white wines in Douro?
We started in beginning of the 90s making reds or table wines as a whole, and I think the first white was in 95.
What are the white grapes of Douro?
The most typical grapes here are Malvasia,
okay.
Huge in ports, Códiga, Moscatel, of course. You have Rabigato, Gouveio, Vizinho, yeah.
Okay.
Arinto,
sim. Okay, and I need to tell you that I wanted to come to Poças because like a few weeks ago in one of the restaurants in Lisboa, it was like a restaurant with quite traditional wines, and then I see Poças orange wine, and I was quite surprised that somebody in Douro is making orange wine, so skin contact wine.
Yeah. We are in the oldest part of the Quinta. This is the actual facility for the lagars. Mm-hmm. It's where we make terrific port wines, LBVs, some beautiful reds, and also the orange wine.
And we are actually in the lagar.
We're sitting in the lagar.
And actually, I really enjoyed this one. I tasted it already. And tell us something more. What is inside and how you made this wine?
Well, this is a very special wine. It's made with two beautiful grapes, Arinto and Códiga, okay? It's from a very small plot in our vineyards in Valdecavalos estate near Numel, and it's a small zone where we have a transition between schist to granite. Mm-hmm. That's where comes the minerality of the wine. Mm-hmm. And it's actually pressed over here on this old press, okay. Because it's very delicate and very slow. It's the same method that you can see in Champagne, mm-hmm. The whole cluster, and we just pick the very first beginning of the press.
Mm-hmm. So the first juice?
The first juice, yeah, and it goes to the barrels and ferment and age for a year.
Which type of barrels? As big as the barrels for the port?
No. Different size. It's 300 liters, so mm-hmm. smaller, and it's new French barrels with tight grain. So we want to preserve the freshness of the wine.
You don't want too much oxidation?
Yeah.
Okay. What vintage is that?
This is the 2021. 2021 is for me one of the best years so far in terms of wine.
Was it like colder than usual?
We have a lot of water in the soil during winter, and during the summer and before the harvest, the temperature was quite not strong, but mm-hmm. mid-term in terms of heat. And it gave us wines with really good balance. Mm-hmm. And we have a slightly rain at the end of the harvest, so it was good also it helped the reds. Not an excellent year for ports, but for whites and reds, it's terrific.
Do you think that the whites are the future of Douro?
I think we are rediscovering the region, mm-hmm. because the climate is changing, mm-hmm. so we are rediscovering the region, how the grapes react to the heat. We are now seeking more north-facing vineyards. We are playing a lot with the acidity that was uncommon for us. So we are getting the most fun out of it.
Yeah, let's explain why we are now seeking north-facing vineyards, because in the past we were talking all the time about south-facing vineyards.
More sunlight.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and now it's the opposite. Explain maybe.
It's when you have a south-facing vineyard, you get too much sun, and as the climate is changing, the temperature is getting hotter. When you have too much sun exposure, the grapes, they lose acidity fast. They over-ripen quite fast, and for you to have balance and maintain some acidity on the wines, it's very difficult. And right now, the north-facing plots and vineyards, they can endure better the warm climate, and they preserve better the acidity. And
the freshness.
Yeah,
yes.
and 5 or 10 years from ago, those vineyards were very tough to ripen, and now they are really good.
And like this, the grapes, they have like a relief in the afternoon.
Yeah.
After the amazing acidity in this.
Amazing acidity, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the last thing I would expect from a wine that's been in barrels. That there's so much acidity. I mean, it's.
The thing is, for you to preserve this acidity, imagine the wine when it came out of the press was really tough. But we can see how it's going to age properly in barrel. That's why I ferment and let it sit on the barrel since the beginning.
That's great.
That's really important. And the marriage between the wine and the wood is more perfect.
From the beginning, it's getting along.
Yeah.
It feels like it has quite a bit of potential for aging as well, right?
Yeah, I think easily 20 to 25 years with this type of acidity, with this type of structure.
Can you tell me the price of the wine on the shelf?
50 euros.
50?
Yeah.
50?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We should maybe taste something cheaper. But just to tell you that cheaper whites from Douro are also great, okay?
Yeah.
It's not just,
I think it's one of the.
I look like a snob now.
One of the Portugal in general, but Douro in particular, I think it's one of the regions that has more value for money in terms of wines.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, now the orange wine made of what, and what is the twist?
Well, actually, it started with the same exactly grapes and the one before.
Okay.
Okay. So it's Arinto and Codga. What I did was I pick the clusters that were pressed here, and I remove it to here, to the lagar, and I fit crushed everything, and then I pick the stems and the skins. I put it in open top barrels, and let it ferment for a month. After that month, I bring back the wine here. I pressed everything, closed the barrels, and let it sit for the next year in the barrel. So what you have here is the complexity of skin contact and some oxidation in white wines. This beautiful nose comes from the oxidation of the Arinto, but you still get the same strength and acidity from the other wine.
Yeah, and it has this like apricot-y nose, but also a little bit of flowers like chamomile or orange blossom. Very nice wine.
But this is like a month of skin contact.
Yeah, imagine this with 3 months or a year.
No, but a month is already, it's quite a bit, I would say, and it doesn't feel, the tannins are not so intense. So I think it's still it's still pleasurable for someone who is not used to orange wines. You know, it's like a nice entry into skin contact wines.
What I see in orange wines, you have two worlds: the heavy stuff, heavy contact, like heavy on nose,
tea side of the
and
wine.
You have this delicate profile of orange wines. And these wines, I think, are very versatile. It's good to eat by itself, with some cheese, with some meats, chicken curry.
Tuna steak, but chicken curry, like in general curry. It can be just curry.
Yeah, it's perfect for this type of wines.
You don't have to have meat.
Yeah,
You know.
because it also has this like gingery spiciness.
Yeah, lots of spiciness. And what it's good for this type of wines is that it's low in alcohol, so the drinkability of the wine, it's 11.5. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So the drinkability increases a lot.
It's very drinkable.
Very. It is Douro on the label.
Yeah.
So you can make skin contact white Douro and still get the DOC.
And it's quite an interesting story because the first time that we released the wine in 2018, they didn't have an orange wine profile in the chamber. So we have to talk to the guys. And we agreed that it should be a Douro wine, and this was one of the examples for him to teach the tasters in the chamber to learn what is the profile of an orange wine.
Fantastic. So maybe this is the future of Douro now.
Maybe.
Okay.
The key here is that Douro has amazing whites and even skin contact orange wines now. So I think for me that's very pleasurable because I love whites, and you know I'm not very big on the heavy reds. So I'm very excited about the fact that there's so many whites, and during this Primera Provo tasting now, there's more and more whites and more producers actually.
Yeah, the region is terrific because it has a lot of diversity, a lot of altitudes, north and south facing vineyards, and you can make in the same region sparklings, light body whites, very terpenic type of wines, orange wines, very acidic. So it's amazing. You should try the whites from the region.
Definitely.
Yes.
So thanks again, Andre, for having us here and sharing the wonderful whites or just your wonderful wines with us. Thanks again for watching us. Let us know if you know any whites from Douro, if you have any favorites. We'll be happy to read your comments. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and see you next week at 5. And remember what?
Drink responsibly.
Always drink responsibly. Thanks again for being here. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.